No. Please, y'all don't have to point it out to her, but she'll call her mother and tell her, please don't do that. Oh, yeah, it is too. Because, I mean, you're not part of the contract. Oh, no, no. So. You're in charge of the gavel.
How many times do I hit it?
As many times as you want to, just do it now.
Oh, I do now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good morning. We'll call the Wednesday, June 24th, 2020 meeting to order. Today I have the honor of having my daughter in Tyler with me, and so she's going to hang out up here with me today. And then we'll just go through the agenda, and I think Councilman Westbrook is going to do the invocation.
Great, thank you, Phil.
And then we'll do the pledge.
Pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the blessings for our fair city. We thank you for this life-giving rain that you've given us over the last few hours. We thank you for our tenured employees, of which we celebrated 125 years of tenure with the city. We thank you for our police department. We thank you for our first responders. We thank you for everyone that makes up Team Tyler. We ask your strength and we ask your blessings also too on this council as we continue to navigate these troubled times. Please help us make the best decisions for those we serve. We ask all of this in your name, Christ Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So do we have we have the minutes from the May 13th meeting.
Move to approve the minutes as presented.
Motion by
Second.
Westbrook, second by Sellers, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Then we have an award? Or is that what we've already done?
Yes, sir, y'all acknowledged this earlier.
Oh, yeah, good. I see that. I apologize. So now we'll do Z1. And we have an extensive zoning today because we've held off on several due to not having the public meetings. We just felt like it was very important, and most of the zoning items here were willing to wait until there was an actual public hearing. So this is the best way to do that, so we can make sure we hear everybody's opinion. So go ahead, Kyle. What do we have?
Good morning, Mayor and Council. The first item here is one that was tabled at the previous meeting for 30 days. The applicant's requesting to develop 56 townhomes along Garden Valley Road. The applicant still is needing more time to work through some of the comments on their site plan and is requesting to table the item indefinitely. And whenever they're ready to come back, we'll re-notify the request and put it on the council agenda.
So they just want us to go ahead and.
Yeah, to avoid coming back
table
every
it
30 days.
indefinitely, and then they'll come back when they have their plan.
That's right.
Good, okay.
I move to table Z1.
Second.
Motion by Sellers, a second by Westbrook. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Z2.
This next change is this is an annexation request. The applicant is requesting a voluntary annexation of 80.31 acres of land. This is located along Crow Road, just west of Old Jacksonville Highway. The applicant intends to develop the property with residential and commercial uses and is requesting original zoning of,
Yep.
yeah, there's a delay on the,
What's that? That's, you got Z20 on there.
That's the wrong one.
Because that's not
That's
what
not-
you're talking about.
That's not what I'm
Garden
talking
Valley Road.
right. It's catching up here.
It's catching up. Okay.
All right. Here we go.
Okay, here we go.
So, like I said, this is the annexation request. It's voluntary. The annexation request would expand the city boundary, also increase or be included in City Council District Number 2. There needs to be an annexation agreement between the applicant or the property owner and the city regarding city services. This is a new requirement per the recent change to the annexation law. The agreement is essentially everything that we already provide to other properties in the city will also provide to this property. The future land use guide would be be amended to reflect mixed use center, and that the original zoning of 80.31 acres be NR, Neighborhood Residential District, C1 Light Commercial District, and C2 General Commercial District. The future extension of Rice Road would be along the north side of this property, or about a quarter of the property will be bisected by Rice Road. And so this is really just an expansion of the city limits on the west side or the southwest side along Crow Road. So the Planning and Zoning Commission, by a 6-0 vote, recommended approval of the annexation request and the expansion of the city limits, the expansion of City Council District Number 2, authorizing the city manager to sign an agreement for city services, to amend the future land use guide to mixed use center, and to adopt original zoning of NR, C1, and C2.
Do you have it drawn out once, the different areas of zoning?
The NR zoning would be along Crow Road. That's the neighborhood residential.
Right. Right.
And then the C1 would also be along Crow Road there. The remaining half would be C2, or the north half of it would be C2. As you go further north along there, it turns into industrial.
Yeah,
so-
right.
yeah.
Okay. Any we have, you can really hear me today. Do we have any questions? We have Mark Priestner here that's on the item Z2. Any questions for Mr. Priestner or for Kyle?
No.
Move to approve Z2.
A motion from McGee,
Second.
a second from Westbrook. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
This next request is a request to close a portion of unapproved right-of-way. This is the south end of Walgem Street. The applicant's requesting the closure to incorporate the property into their property through a plat. As I mentioned, the street's currently not improved past this, or in this area, as you see on the map here. The plan is on the commission by a 6-0 vote, recommended approval of the closure, subject to the right-of-way being replatted within 6 months.
Yeah. Any questions of Kyle? We do have cards, but I believe that's just for questions only. Are there any questions? Oh, well, somebody's got to make a motion.
Move to
I can't
approve
see all
Z3. Move to approve
that. A
Z3.
motion by McGee, I'm sorry.
Second.
Second by Sellers, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. I was going to call the vote before a motion, sorry. Z4,
This is another thoroughfare closure request. This is for an unimproved portion of Epperson Avenue. This is along East Irwin Street. The applicant's requesting the closure to replat the property, or replat the right-of-way into their property. It's currently developed, and there's currently a building into the right-of-way. So they're seeking to correct that encroachment by incorporating the land into their property. The plan is on the commission by a 6-0 vote, recommended approval of the closure, subject to it being replatted within 6 months.
any questions of Cobb?
Move to approve Z4.
Motion by McGee, a second by McKellar. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Z5,
This is a thoroughfare name change. This is to rename Alamo Crossing to Alamo Crossing Road. It's intended to be consistent with the street naming convention for Postal Service. The term crossing is also a suffix so the street's actually named Alamo with the suffix. The person that developed the property wants it to be Alamo Crossing and then a suffix. So it's really intended to add the road to it, add the road part to the name of the street to clarify any distinction between Alamo Crossing and Alamo Drive, which is also in this area. With the request, we did receive the signatures of the other property owners along the street, which is required for a street name change. And so all the homeowners or all the property owners along the street are in favor of the change. And so the Planning and Zoning Commission, by a 5-0 vote, recommends approval of the name change from Alamo Crossing to Alamo Crossing Road.
motion by McKellar,
Second.
second by McGee. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
This is another thoroughfare or street name change. This is to rename a portion of Maple Lane to Legacy Bend. The portion of Maple Lane is to be renamed to Legacy Bend between Cumberland Road and Holly Tree Drive, as you can see here on the map. The purpose of the name change is to be consistent with the approved preliminary plat that disconnected Maple Lane that's currently developed to the north of this property. And so the intent, well, the plan is for those streets not to connect, and so to ensure public safety and street name consistency, the applicant has asked for the street to be renamed, and they also have the approval of the other property owners along that street. And so all property owners are in favor of the change. And the Planning and Zoning Commission by a 6-0 vote recommends the name change from Maple Lane to Legacy Bend.
Any questions of Kyle?
I've always been curious about where it got the name Maple to begin with. Was there somebody named
It was,
Maple?
it was a tree. It was a big tree right in the center of the.
It's such a short street and it's so brand new. That was my only question. How did it get the name Maple? And is there somebody named Maple that's gonna be unhappy that we?
I don't think so.
Ah,
Yeah, as
I
you go
move
further.
to approve.
Yeah.
Z6.
A motion by Sellers, a second by McKellar. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
This is a zone change request from multifamily to PUR Planned Unit Residential District. The applicant is requesting the zone change to develop 26 detached single-family homes. The properties to the west are zoned R1A and are developed as single-family homes. The property to the south is the location of an assisted living center, and the properties to the north and east are zoned for single-family homes and are developed as such. The request is consistent with the future land use guide, which identifies the property as single-family mixed use, single-family medium low density. Like I said, the applicant is proposing 26 detached homes at a density of 3.72 units per acre. The property will have access to Lake Placid Road. Lake Placid Road is on the CIP project listing. It's currently ranked 62. The request is a downzoning from the existing multifamily, so the impact is actually going to be lower as this develops. Of the notices that were sent, 0 were returned in favor and 1 in opposition, with a 0.90% protest. The opposition was concerned about the current condition of Lake Placid Road, and like I mentioned, that is on our CIP list, and that the actual request today is actually a downzoning, so it's going to reduce the impact to that street. And so with that, the Planning and Zoning Commission by a 5-0 vote recommended approval of the zone change from RMF to PUR.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, a great addition to that area.
Any questions?
Move to approve Z7.
Motion by McGee, a second by Westbrook. Any other questions? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Hi, Donald. How are you? ZA?
This next request is a zone change from R1B, single family, and R2, two family, to R1D, single family attached and detached residential. The applicant's requesting the zone change to allow for the development of a single family home. All adjacent properties are zoned R2, two family residential, and are developed with single family homes. The adjacent property to the west is the location of Pete Elementary School. This request would amend the future land use guide from single family medium low density to single family and single family attached medium high density. There are currently some R1D properties in the area that it would be consistent with that. There's currently a single family home on one of the lots. The applicant's requesting the change to be able to move a lot line to be able to build another single family home. This zone change helps accomplish the Tyler First plan goal of adding 3,000 additional households to North Tyler through infill development. Of the 21 notices, 0 were returned in favor or in opposition to the request, and the Planning and Zoning Commission by a 6-0 vote recommends approval.
Questions of Kyle? Motion by McKellar, second by McGee. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
This next request is a zone change from R1D, single family attached and detached, to NR, neighborhood residential district. This is at the end of Walgem Street. The applicant's requesting the zone change to develop single family homes or attached single family townhomes on a single lot. The properties to the north are currently undeveloped and are zoned for single family homes. The property to the east is the location of Kohl's. It is currently zoned for commercial use. The property to the south is the location of a cemetery, and to the west is
Excuse me, I was listening to our quiet zone for a minute.
Maybe they're celebrating because they just finished the repair on Martin Luther King.
Yeah, they should, finally.
Yeah.
That project only took like 15 years.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So generally it's undeveloped, with the exception of the coal store and the cemetery to the south. This request is consistent with the current future land use guide, which shows the property as single family and single family attached. The NR zoning district allows for a maximum of 10 units per acre. The current R1D zoning is actually more dense than that, which will allow probably around 14.5 units per acre. So in effect, this is reducing the potential density on the property. The applicant's requesting to develop attached single-family homes on a single lot. As you can see here, this is not a site plan; it's just a concept of what they plan to develop. Of the 4 notices that were sent, 0 were returned in favor or in opposition to the request. The Planning and Zoning Commission, by a 6-0 vote, recommends approval of the zone change from R1D to NR.
Yeah, good. So adjoining that other neighborhood, you still have a row of single family, right? Okay, that's good. Any questions? I do have a card for Mark Priestner as well. Any questions of Kyle or Mr. Priestner?
No.
Move to approve Z9.
Second.
Motion by Sellers, flip a coin, second by McKellar. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
This next request is a zone change from R2 two-family to R1D single-family attached and detached. The applicant's requesting for the zone change to develop a detached single-family home on this property. The adjacent properties are currently developed with single-family homes and are developed and are zoned for two-family homes. The request is consistent with the future land use guide, showing the property as single-family attached, and the request will help implement the goal of adding more households to the north end. Of the 27 notices sent, 0 were returned in favor or in opposition to the request. And the Planning and Zoning Commission, by a 6-0 vote, recommends approval of the zone change from R2 to R1D.
That's great.
So moved.
Motion by McKellar,
Second.
second by Westbrook. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
This next item is a zone change from R1A single family to M1 light industrial district. This is along Earl Campbell Parkway. The properties to the north and west are currently undeveloped. The properties to the south is the location of the East Texas Crisis Center and undeveloped land. And the properties to the east are undeveloped. That's the location of the spur track there. The request is to allow for future development of kind of business park or industrial uses in the area. This is the Tyler Industrial Park. The request is consistent with the future land use guide, showing it as light industrial and warehouse. Of the 3 notices that were sent, 2 were returned in favor and 0 in opposition. The Planning and Zoning Commission, by a 6-0 vote, recommends approval.
Questions of Kyle?
Move to approve Z11.
Motion by McGee,
Second.
second by Westbrook.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
This next request is a similar request. This is from R1A to M1 light industrial. This is also to allow for future development and to attract businesses to Tyler. The properties to the northwest and south are zone M1 and are a mixture of undeveloped land and industrial uses. And the property to the east is currently developed with a single-family home. The future land use guide identifies the property as business office park. This request, as is for industrial, this M1 light industrial, it would amend the future land use guide to light industrial or warehouse. The subject property is part of the Tyler Industrial Park, and this zone change will help attract companies or new businesses to Tyler. Of the 9 notices that were sent, 2 were returned in favor and 0 in opposition. And the Planning and Zoning Commission, by a 6-0 vote, recommends approval.
Questions of Kyle?
Since this is the last zoning case, I do have a question.
Okay.
Previously, you were putting the district numbers on the maps, and it helped me to focus in on what part of the city we were talking about. Is there a reason we're no longer showing that on the maps?
No, I'm not sure
It
what
helps us.
the reason for that.
The names of these streets, I don't know if you guys have that trouble, but I'm like, what street is that? So having the
We'll make sure
district
those
just
are
kind of
added.
helps me zero in on
Okay,
where the property is.
thank you.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion by McKellar, a second by McGee. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Good morning, Lisa.
Morning.
Good morning.
This is a request for an engineering contract with KSA Engineers, Inc. for some channel improvements to the Briarwood Estates subdivision. This subdivision is west of Loop 323 out along Spur 364. This particular subdivision is surrounded on both sides by various developments associated with the Cascades. And as the Cascades developments have increased, it has increased the drainage through the existing natural drainage channel that runs through this subdivision. Now, back in 2010, Tyler Water Utilities installed a sewer line along this drainage channel, and as one of the concessions that was made to the property owners of this subdivision is that eventually the city would make improvements to the channel, because even back in 2010 it was starting to show signs of erosion and was eroding into the yards of the people that lived along the channel. And again, that erosion was occurring because the amount of drainage had increased due to those other improvements. So again, the city had agreed to make these improvements back in 2010. To date, we've improved just the very first section of the channel, and now we need to go ahead and complete the improvements to the remainder of the channel. So we've had KSA do some preliminary engineering. Originally, we thought we'd be able to install pipes and just, put the channel underground, but that's actually not going to be feasible. So they are recommending that we do some regrading, restore the yards that have lost ground due to the erosion, and then do some hard armoring on the sides and bottom of the channel.
Okay, any questions of Lisa?
Move to approve M1.
Second.
Motion by McGee, a second by Sellers. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
You very much. So Davis, because you're making this presentation, you've decided that you're going to retain with the city for the next 10 years, or? Oh, okay. Well, I guess that was kind of my answer, but.
It'd probably run me off before.
Yeah,
10 months
yeah.
of that. Good morning.
morning.
This is a proposal for a new lease, so really kind of a renewal form of a lease with the FAA. Since, we moved over to the new terminal building, about in 2003, the FAA occupied our second floor of the old terminal building. And that included the control tower and the second floor for a lot of their admin office area. Well, then that lease expired in October or September 30th last year. And they were looking for actually some new office space, but we really urged them to stay with us on that second floor. Now, about 2.5 years ago, though, when an airport had a contract tower, which we do, they weren't permitted to pay lease for the tower part. So that's been omitted now. But this has been a long-term lease, and it's a renewal to start a new one just for the second floor, and it would end in 2023, so about 3 years. What they were paying before was $10.50 a square foot. And with this lease, we're proposing $14.50 a square foot. They look at a lot of the comps in the area. And that's where we kind of ended up with our negotiations. It includes us paying the utilities and doing some janitorial work, but then they take care of the other. And it's about 1,259 square feet. What it is, I feel like it's a good proposal because a lot of their technical people, tech ops, are residing right underneath the control tower. And I think that makes a lot of sense in case there's problems with their equipment upstairs.
Right. Sounds good. Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve M2.
Motion by McGee, second by Sellers. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. And now we're on to the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion by Westbrook,
Second.
second by McKellar. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. City Manager's Report.
Mayor and Council, thank y'all for this morning taking part in Pollinator Week. As of August 2019, the City of Tyler is one of the 4 Texas Bee City USA under the Keep Tyler Beautiful program. Our mission is to educate and raise awareness in our community on the importance of all pollinator species, including bees. We now have a Bee City Committee with 10 active members and a partnership with East Texas Bee Association. The objective of our affiliation with Bee City USA is to support pollinators by providing them with a healthy habitat, rich in native plants, and nearly free of pesticides. And Keep Tyler Beautiful has designed a web page during Pollinator Week with an educational content and gardening activities. Social media graphics have been created and scheduled to post during Pollinator Week on the City of Tyler Parks and Recreation Facebook page, and the posts will inform the public on gardening recommendation of native plant species and facts about pollinators. There's a major street closure that we want to make sure that the community is aware of. A.E. Scholl will be making a repair to a storm drain pipe on East Grande in front of a skilled nursing facility at 3219 East Grande. This will require a closure of eastbound traffic on Grande Boulevard between Roans Quarter Boulevard and Highway 110. Eastbound through traffic will be detoured either north or south at Roans Quarter Road. Traffic to the skilled nursing facility will be allowed to travel to and from the facility. The closure is currently planned to begin on Monday, July 6th, and will last for 2 weeks. Message boards were put up to warn the upcoming closure on Monday, and the Communications Department will be putting out media release and social media posts to help citizens prepare. Main Street Monday kicked off last week. The program will feature a different business or organization every Monday through our Downtown Tyler Facebook page. These are short walkthrough interviews with the owners and managers providing details about the business or organization. Today, or on Monday, we featured the recently opened Urban Dough Candle Company located at 319 Bodark, right across the street from Caldwell Elementary. As of right now, we have enough interested businesses to go through September, and staff is confident that interest will grow as more of these episodes air. And then finally, we have our Independence Day celebration at Lindsay Park scheduled for Saturday, July 4th. This will be an abbreviated type of event, primarily designed just to be allowed for families to come, set up a blanket. We will have water available for those to make sure that everybody stays hydrated. But it really is aimed more at kind of show up before the fireworks show, sit, enjoy the fireworks show with your family, and then head on home afterwards. That will allow for area residents to bring their families out and socially distance and also enjoy our fireworks show to celebrate our country's birth. And so with that, any questions of the council? No? Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, before we do
sure.
that,
Yeah.
yes, I'd like to make note that we have our former Councilman
yeah.
Donald Sanders in our chambers today. We want to welcome him and thank him for stopping by to see us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just had a text from former council member Sam Mazzei, who was on the council with Donald and I years ago.
Wow.
Okay, so entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Smack. As many times as you want. We are adjourned.